that's boring about it. We left last time talking about the Antichrist. What's the Bible tell us the Antichrist is going to be like, or what are the characteristics? You mentioned last segment that he's described as the little horn. So someone right now that's not very well known, if indeed this is the era in which the Antichrist is about to rise. But what are some other clearer definitions of the Antichrist?
Well, the Antichrist, I think, is going to rise from this reunited Roman Empire. Again, we don't know what country for sure he's coming from, but we know he's going to come out of this reunited Roman Empire. I think he's going to be a Gentile. You know, the early church believed he was going to be a Jew. Many of them did, but he rises up in Revelation 13 out of the sea, which speaks of the sea of nations. The only type or foreshadow of the Antichrist in the Bible was a man named Antiochus Epiphanes back in the book of Daniel, and he was a Gentile. And also the Antichrist is going to lead the final form of Gentile world power, and he's going to be a great persecutor of the Jewish people, which seems odd to me if he's a Jew for him to be persecuting the Jews.
Great point.
So I think he's going to be a Gentile. He's going to be someone, though, who's going to come on the scene as a great peacemaker. And you think about, what does the world want today more than anything else? Someone who can bring peace to the world, peace and prosperity. And that's going to be his platform and his promise. And he's going to do that for some period of time, but at some point in time, the iron fist inside the velvet glove is going to be unveiled. And he will be the most iron-fisted, egomaniacal leader the world has ever seen.
And Mark, you can see the way the world is today with instantaneous communication, how very quickly news can spread and power can be established and influence can be made just because of media platforms.
That's right. The globalism we see today is setting the stage for him to come on the scene, and the technology that's available today, because the technology available today allows someone to keep track of where people are and to know what people are doing. So all these things we see coming together really fit what the Bible says about a coming world ruler who's going to come on the scene.
More about the Antichrist when we're back, and we're also going to talk in our next segment about the mark of the beast. It's going to get more and more compelling.
He too will erect an image, and he too will demand worship. The Bible calls him the Antichrist, the beast. Initially, he'll emerge on the scene as a man of peace, with solutions to all the conflicts that we see around the planet today. But then he'll reveal his true colors, because one of the things Antichrist will do is he will rebuild the temple. There will be a third temple for the Jewish people in Israel. And in the temple, he will erect an image of himself and command everyone to worship. And Jesus in Matthew 24 called this the abomination of desolation. He says, when you see the abomination of desolation, and then he says, let the reader understand. That's interesting, because some people say, well, you can't understand Bible prophecy. It's much too complex. Really? Well, Jesus said, let the reader understand. And I told you the word revelation means unveiling. It is God's desire not to conceal, but to reveal, to uncover, to make it clear. In fact, in Daniel chapter 12, remember we read earlier that some of these truths are going to be revealed to believers living in the last days. I believe we're in the last days. And I believe an Antichrist is coming. It's possible this man is alive on earth even today. But there is already the spirit of Antichrist out there. And I don't mean literal Antichrist, I mean it's anti-Christ. The prefix anti can also be translated instead of Christ. There's a mentality of things that are offered to us instead of Christ, or sometimes in opposition to Christ. So we have a choice in life: Antichrist or Jesus Christ, hell or heaven. That's our choice that we make in life, because one day this man will come on the scene, and it's going to be a bad time, and it will be during the tribulation period that is coming upon the earth. But we have a promise that for all true believers, Jesus will come and catch us up to be with him in heaven before any of this even begins. And I believe I'm going to go. Are you coming with me? I heard about a preacher that was talking to his church, and he said, how many of you want to go to heaven? How many of you want to die and go to heaven one day? Everybody raise their hand. And one little boy wasn't raising his hand up. The preacher said, son, don't you want to die and go to heaven one day? He says, yes, but I thought you were getting a load up right now. And we don't want to die now. Nobody wants to die at all. And if in fact you are that generation that is walking this earth when Christ comes for his people, you actually will not die. You'll skip death. She likes that, doesn't she? I like it too.
Enable helps IT do more IT with cloud first data protection.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
Calls him the Antichrist, the beast. Initially, he'll emerge on the scene as a man of peace with solutions to all the conflicts that we see around the planet today. But then he'll reveal his true colors, because one of the things Antichrist will do is he will rebuild the temple. There will be a third temple for the Jewish people in Israel. And in the temple, he will erect an image of himself and command everyone to worship. And Jesus in Matthew 24 called this the abomination of desolation. He says, when you see the abomination of desolation, and then he says, let the reader understand. That's interesting, because some people say, well, you can't understand Bible prophecy.
Just months before, I recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. In 2016, American taxpayers generously sent those same countries more than $20 billion in aid. That is why tonight I am asking Congress to pass legislation to help ensure American foreign assistance dollars always serve American interests and only go to friends of America, not.
It's been the capital of Israel for nearly 70 years. It was here that our temple stood, our kings ruled, our prophets preached. Jerusalem has been the focus of our hopes, our dreams, our prayers for 3 millennia. From every corner of the earth, our people yearn to return to Jerusalem, to touch its golden stones, to walk its hallowed streets. So it's rare to be able to speak of new and genuine milestones in the glorious history of this city. Yet today's pronouncement by President Trump is such an occasion. We're profoundly grateful for the President for his courageous and just decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and to prepare for the opening of the U.S. Embassy here. This decision reflects the President's commitment to an ancient but enduring truth, to fulfilling his promises.
When I came into office, I promised to look at the world's challenges with open eyes and very fresh thinking. We cannot solve our problems by making the same failed assumptions and repeating the same failed strategies of the past. Old challenges demand new.
A new neighborhood is planned here, named in honor of U.S. President Donald Trump.